Hello and welcome to Hit the Podcast with me, Matthew.
Me, Jack.
Me, Millie.
And Finley.
And in today's episode, we're talking about our latest episode of Timeline.
Woohoo!
Yeah, come on.
I have no words.
Oh, come on then, Matthew.
Well, the first sort of question is, how do you think we managed our time, like in the show and as a whole
Perfect.
production?
As a director, I got like straight bang on the hour.
Yeah, but in
Yeah,
the rehearsals you
But
did
in the
not.
rehearsals, it wasn't
Rushed
too
back out.
great.
What will we get marked on? Rehearsals?
Yeah, you
or
are
the
getting
main
marked on
product?
We are
Rehearsals.
getting marked
What's
on
been
rehearsals.
recorded? What's on YouTube? The final
The
one.
actual show, but...
Right, there we go. Which
We've got
is
all the test
an hour.
footage though.
Oh god.
Oh, no.
Oh god.
The time management in college went quite well, but we do need to find more time for rehearsals.
And for the
if we can get
rehearsals, in terms of getting it bang on an hour, we didn't actually do the whole show in rehearsals. We did little parts and skipped
Yeah, because there wasn't...
pre-records.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you can't really time the
No.
the rehearsals.
Yeah.
I think we could have used our time better while at college for rehearsals and done more of the paperwork side, maybe at home in like days we weren't meant to do rehearsals.
Yeah.
What days were we meant to do rehearsals?
There was no set times for rehearsals because I was
Normally
in doing
Wednesday.
social media.
So normally a Wednesday.
It's normally Wednesday, but that isn't clarified, is it? It's not.
No.
It's not set on schedule because there's so much going on a Wednesday.
I would say next time,
We should have a full
so
schedule.
maybe me, you or Matthew, but definitely should make a strict schedule instead of saying, oh yeah, we should, maybe let's rehearse, maybe this Friday, maybe this Wednesday, you know what I mean, instead of just going about it. We only rehearsed the week before the actual show, so that's definitely something we need to change in production 3.
Yeah, because I feel like if we change it, it'll become more like natural on the camera. Because we'll know what we're doing more.
And you also need to make it not focused about college so much because you're focusing about college 24/7, which is restricting than what I have to do when I cover for somebody, and it makes it a lot more less natural because you're trying to relate everything to college. If that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I am sorry that you had to come for me.
It's
But
fine.
I wasn't well.
No, I figured out I had arthritis halfway through the show, so
What's the next thing then?
Decision making is next. How do you think that went, Jack?
The decision making for the parts that I did, I felt my decision making was quite strong. I knew what I wanted to do with like my pre-records from the get-go.
Mm.
I feel like it worked quite well. Obviously, the last decision that I did make,
which was you calling?
which was me calling saying that I couldn't do rehearsals, probably the best thing for me. What about you, Matthew?
I felt like I did a lot of the decision making for the episode. It weren't all the right ones
What do you mean?
for the show. As we've got...
Am I allowed to agree with that?
Yeah.
Just because some of the pre-records, like I said, were too long, so that Welcome to Media one, however much we needed it in. However much we
Some
needed
of
it in.
them are extremely boring.
Yeah, so the media one, we were just sat there. I had to entertain myself by singing in between because we had 8 minutes long, and you had an 8-minute massive break that people probably would have clicked off
Mm.
because
Yeah.
it was very, very.
And that's meant, like, a pre-record is meant to be almost the star of the show. People click on to watch the pre-records. And for that, that's the main reason someone clicked on to watch. I would be very disappointed as a viewer.
Mm.
Yeah.
And also, as we're making it for students, range from like 16 to 24, they have very short attention span. Usually, as students do, as younger people do, making an 8-minute pre-record about a very boring topic,
People will click off.
people definitely will click off.
I would have clicked off if I
I
was a
would.
viewer.
I was skipping through the final project of it. I couldn't sit through that 8 minutes. I'm not gonna lie. I couldn't fully sit through the whole hour just because a lot of it was related to college, and because it was related to college, it was making it a very unnatural show because you made us stick into the fact it was all college related.
As a director, whilst that pre-record was happening, I was letting know my presenters to just watch that pre-record, for example, the media one, so they have something to talk about after the pre-record is done. But that might have been very difficult as the topic was, boring, as we said.
Do you know what I think would have gone better if...
We had more entertaining.
Yeah, but also if me and Finley actually knew what pre-records were going on from Lincoln.
Well, no, it weren't even that, because it wouldn't matter if we knew it, because as it was such short notice, meaning if the pre-records are sent out a week before the live show, which it was, we can even have a decision on whether to put that in or not, as we needed to make the hour mark, and without them, we had no pre-records to cover it from Newark.
Yeah, no, I do get you.
Next question.
Well, I was just going to say a bit
Okay.
more. I think from now on in the show, whoever is involved with the pre-record content, we need to get signed on our content release form, so then we don't get into any copyright things, and it goes on the website. I think also we might need an admin person
Don't look at me when you say that, please.
to look at the timeline from an outside timeline and a legal perspective.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me with that. I am not being an admin person. I already do your social media.
Okay, what's the next question?
Oh, that weren't all of it. Maybe we also need some training procedures in place for cast and crew for different scenarios, such as audio monitoring a bit, because
To
the
be
audio
fair-
levels were a bit everywhere.
To be fair, I will say yes to that. I'm sorry.
I'm not being.
But
Practice,
you
practice
need practice,
sessions.
not
Yeah, not
practice during your rehearsals, because that thing I would agree with is auto cue, because auto cue, you've not trained anybody on it. Nobody knows what they're doing. You were struggling with
Can
it.
I just say the script was wrong as well? The script
Yeah.
wasn't edited
So
before I'd got
You
it.
need somebody to do the auto cue, and you need them to know how they're doing it. Finley can do sound, or
Yeah,
you can get
'cause-
somebody else doing sound. You've got Jamie on VTs already and doing the mixer.
Yeah.
I think it's
we
just.
we have no designated people to do the jobs.
Yeah, because for the audio, I literally just got a crash course.
Like-
This is how you speed it
and-
up, this is how you speed it down.
Because
so
I
stop
will
it.
do auto cue sometimes for you if I'm not helping, but the last 2 shows I've been in.
Also in the rehearsals, I was doing the auto cue, as well as the sound, as well as directing the show. And as a rehearsal, you're practicing the live show as if it's live. Me doing 3 jobs at once won't produce as well as the show it would if each person was on a different thing. So that's why the rehearsals seemed to rush, and that's probably why we didn't get through as many rehearsals as we could have, because we didn't have enough people, or enough willingly people to do the jobs that we need to be done. So that's definitely something we need to do in production 3 before we start actually working on the show and what's going to be in the show. We need to actually get people and definitely nail down on they're going to do this job, someone's going to do this job. Another example is when we had one person on 3 cameras as well as a floor manager. Yeah, that worked, but that could have been better. I mean, in a professional studio, as we're trying to make it how it is, you wouldn't have one person doing 4 jobs. Definitely.
Yeah, I to be
Yeah.
fair agree with that too. Like, you need them to have them in rehearsals straight from the moment you start rehearsals, which kind of links back to the earlier question that you need to rehearse more and find a set time for your rehearsals that everybody can do when you're not doing paperwork, because this final project you're going to have to nail down on it if you want it to be good. So you definitely need to have them and make sure they can spare that time on a Wednesday or whenever you're doing it to be there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
What's the next question?
What is the next question, Jack?
Next question is, the end project. So how did this compare to your original expectations, and can you give us a reflection on your solo performance?
Matthew?
I think the quality of production was sort of alright. I think it could have gone better again, but it would have come down to training and sort of rehearsals of the show. There were some moments where the audio weren't there, and again, loud or quiet. There were some positives. We went live on YouTube this time, and we got around 5 viewers on the live. The communication probably needs to be better, and we need to improve it. As this sort of affects the working of the show as a whole, and as sort of the.
What do you reckon you could have done personally to better the show?
Probably spent more time doing the paperwork and stuff, because I
Do you
didn't
not
spend long
think
enough.
we should have spent more time rehearsing and presenting in the camera to get better?
Yeah.
Be natural rather than
Well,
the paper.
we should probably
side.
start coming in on Thursdays and rehearsing it as well then.
Thing is, when you think about that, you have to think about if people are available. Because I know Finley, you're in on a Thursday
Sometimes I'm
already,
not available.
but Jack has other commitments,
Appointments.
and he has appointments
I'm
that he
happy
can
to do
do.
Thursdays where you can present and I'll sort out everything in the air. Because especially, I mean, the presenters haven't mastered presenting, right? So we can always improve on that. So any practice we get will definitely help towards production 3. Jack, what do you think you could have done personally to make the show better?
Obviously, because I was meant to be a presenter, and then I had to stop because I wasn't very well. So maybe that factor. Like, I just wish that wouldn't have happened. But I did try and pull myself together. Like, I did try and do what I could do best. But it just generally wasn't working for me on that day, and I didn't want to leave it until the day we were going live, and then not have anybody there. What about you, Finley?
I believe that me personally, I could have learned the rundown of the show by heart, meaning I didn't have to look at the sheets to know what comes next. So my time management be better, meaning I can talk to the presenters while BT's going on, knowing what is actually on screen, what is next, and also count them in so I know how long each VT is. That would definitely improve the show a lot. But I felt like what I actually did didn't turn out bad, especially we had a fill-in presenter. We were limited to what we could have actually produced as quite late notice.
Compared to your original expectations, Matthew, how do you think it went?
Wow. I think there was some good things in it, and then bad things in it.
But do you think it was better than the first show, or do you think?
Well, we went
first
live
show was
this
better?
time. We went live this time, which I suppose is a positive.
But for your original expectations, did you think it went better than you thought, or worse?
Worse.
Worse.
Mm.
Why is that?
Lack of communication, really. And me not doing enough work on the show.
What do you mean enough work on the show?
Well, I should have stayed later and got more stuff done so then we can rehearse on the Wednesdays, but I didn't. I mean, don't get me wrong, I did stay a couple of days till about 6, but.
What needed to be done in terms of paperwork that we not didn't do, but
What could we have
what
done
was
better?
necessary? I
Probably
believe,
copyright paperwork from Lincoln. We
Right.
didn't get any of that done.
okay, I believe rehearsals, we should prioritise rehearsals other than paperwork. So if you're taking time doing paperwork and saying that as, oh, that's the thing I could have improved on, I believe rehearsals is our number one thing to improve for the next show. I believe actual rehearsals is the one thing that can 100%
Better the performance.
better the performance of production 3. Copyright claiming for production 3 won't better the actual performance of the show.
Obviously, paperwork and research is important, but I do get what these guys are saying. That rehearsals are the main priority.
Like staying later to do paperwork, you can do that on a different day at home.
Yeah, I definitely think what Matthew said at the start, where it's like rehearsals in the day, and then paperwork, meaning behind the scenes, what the viewers on the screen don't see. That needs to be done at school hours, I believe, because that's not going to affect the what the viewers are seeing. So definitely paperwork comes second to rehearsing. I definitely passionately believe rehearsing should be prioritised in production 3. Even if we don't have the full VTs in, just practicing like talking to each other on a
Making
camera.
it more natural.
Yeah.
Not so
But
forced conversation.
I feel like the presenters definitely should be a lot more natural on camera, especially after doing 2 shows now, because this is it's about 6 months,
Yeah.
and it still feels like it's the first time you've been on camera. You've got to laugh and joke. It still feels like you stick to a script, and we're doing magazine television, and that's not what they do.
You don't want it to seem boring because
No.
it reminds you of a new show in a way.
At the end of the day, we're students. We're not adults. We don't present BBC. We present a college
You know what I mean?
show.
Like, yeah, I know what
Yeah.
you mean. So like it sounds like you're presenting a BBC show. The BBC is very to the point, very strict. I will say it myself. It's very strict, very to the point. You don't want it to be like that. You want it to be a lot looser
fun.
and let free, because then
mean-
you're attracting the other students.
I mean, mostly you're presenting for children under
Yeah.
18s, so you got to present in a way where you're, attracting under 18s to view the show.
Because at the minute it's very strict and rigid. Like, that's why I said you need to not focus on college points so much with like the Welcome to Media, and then we have ASI. Like, it's a lot easier if you don't include the college points, because the students aren't going to be in college, like interested in college they go to. Let's be for real, they don't want to hear about college. They're there 3 to 7 days a week at a most, 7 days at a most, 3 at a minimum. They don't want to be.
If I went to college 7 days a week, I wouldn't be on this
I
planet.
wouldn't be.
Exactly. You wouldn't watch, because the ASI course, they're here 5 days a week. So
4.
5.
They're not in on Fridays.
Some of them are.
So.
Yeah, some of them are here.
At least we're not.
They wouldn't want to watch it because of the fact they've already in college that much a week. So you want to not focus it more at college, just because it'll be more light-hearted then, and you'll get more viewers.
Yeah, not just presenters though, as well as VTs.
They need to be more light-hearted.
Yeah, and more topics that
College students are interested
yeah,
in.
VTs is definitely what we should all work on.
Because one that really worked is obviously Finley's football transfers.
Mine could have been a bit more exciting in a way, as it was my first one. It was pretty basic.
But it's,
My next one is definitely going to be a bit more fun, as I'm planning to go to different countries and go to football stadiums and make a mini documentary of like a summary of the football club I'm going to. For example, Barcelona. I might make a trip maybe to Scotland, and then clubs locally, maybe some in London, but maybe Italy as well. But it definitely, I feel like not just people, the VTs, they got to be, even if it's just not yourself, but maybe the editing, maybe a bit more fun. We had an idea with Pancake Race. I feel like that would have been much more better than a media VT, and that's something we didn't really talk about. I feel like that was just scratched, and we were told that was scratched instead of arguing that for it to happen.
Because I think I said that we needed to do it.
Yeah, because we tried to argue it.
We tried to
But-
argue it, but you all said it's not a
Well,
good
the reason
idea.
why we scrapped is because the Ofsted thing, and then it was
But
too late in the half
couldn't
term.
you do it?
Right, then again, too late. This
But
is when
what would Ofsted
scheduling-
say about it? Ofsted, like, at the end of the day,
This is when scheduling comes in.
I
Yeah.
think one of your factors was also the weather, And then I said, well, what about doing it inside?
We could have just done it inside because there is multiple places you could have done it.
Because obviously me and Millie did try and argue that with you. But I think when you're like stuck
On
in a
something,
way,
that's what you need to be try and work on. When you're stuck on something, you can't just be stuck on it. You need to be open to other ideas, if that makes sense. Because then the VTs, like we've just said, will also come into play there because the VTs can be more light-hearted at the same time. Because like I've said, I know for a fact that presenting wasn't good and I was a presenter. But it's just trying to focus on that and making that better, if that makes sense. Because you say the same. You said the same about your stuff. We're still learning as we go along. So obviously I went to go to uni for it. And I've had to do a whole portfolio on it. So...
something that I could definitely improve on the next show. I feel like directing is quite an easy job for me. Might not be for some people, but I feel like it's quite a simple thing to do.
Comes to you naturally.
Yeah, so I think what I can work on is just doing more, because that's my job. Presenting, you gotta rehearse, maybe come up with lines, and just you're on camera. But for me, I just gotta direct the show and also when rehearsals are on, so I can definitely focus in production 3. Definitely focus more on the VT side. So when we get VTs in, I need to be the one that says this is definitely good, this is definitely bad, because the presenters are presenting it. I'm the one watching it from a third party perspective, so I'm not the one. As a director, I'm not telling you what to say. I'm giving you ideas, but at the end of the day, your guys are talking. So from what I'm seeing, I need to be able to say, yeah, that's good, let that stay in, and then we'll all agree or not. And I've got to say, yeah, that's definitely doesn't make the cut, we'll take that out and then work on something else. But this is all comes down to time management, because if to be able to do that, we've got to have enough time to say no, make a new one, put it in, check it. If we haven't got enough time to do that, we're going to have to settle for a mediocre VT, which we're obviously not aiming to do.
Yeah, and obviously because it's FMP, we will have more time.
And you had struggled with Ben's VT, you need to make sure you're chasing up on it. Because we could have Ben's VT, but it wasn't being chased up on, so you guys could have, if you chased up on it more, but it was obviously like
Ben's
last minute.
VT didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
We can't make someone to do something.
Yeah, exactly. I
But
did
you
try.
need to make sure that they want to do it and they're agreeing to it. If they don't want to do a second one, don't make them.
But the thing is, when I asked him, he was like, "Yeah, I'll do it," and then I was like, "Are you sure?"
But you need to make sure you're chasing up on it, if that makes sense.
But I tried, but then he didn't.
I chased him up quite a few times, and he said, "Yeah, I'm getting on with it."
Well, if he says yeah, and he doesn't give you the proof he's working on it, scrap it straight away, because then you can get somebody else's VT.
Well, he's not having
way
another
better.
one in the next show. I'm just saying that
But
now.
you need to make sure they're actually doing what they have and they've proved the point they are doing it, because then you can find somebody else that will want to do one and is willing to do one.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So.
Which then again links back to
What you said.
Yeah. Have we got another question, Matthew?
Overall, was your proposal realistic, Matthew?
Well, we made a show.
Is that what you set out to do?
Well, yeah, we did set out to make another episode. So.
Okay, so then was your proposal realistic? Anything else?
I don't think so.
I think the proposal was realistic because we were set to make a show with VTs, and obviously we did just that, and then we were set to present it, and we did that. But what about you, Finley?
I believe my proposal was realistic. We set out to make a show, to have VTs, and something we could have worked on from the proposal form. I definitely added that there should be more character and humour within the live presenting, and that wasn't the case. That definitely could be worked on, but I can't control that as a presenter, so I definitely feel the VTs. Yeah, I can't remember, but in my proposal form, I mentioned VTs, but I didn't know whether I mentioned they should be a bit more fun. And if I did so, I don't think we met a realistic standard of my proposal form, because they weren't. But in terms of getting a show done, getting the paperwork done, and actually performing a show, whether it's good or bad, we made a show. We made an hour-long show, which is attainable via YouTube, and that's what I put on my proposal form, and that's what the result was. Jack, anything about?
I just had to make a show, and then I just wanted to develop my skills. And obviously, it wasn't my presenting skills this time; it was different skills. But then at least I know that I have these skills to do. Like, I still have the audio skills, and I still have skills like that. So if I am needed in other places, then I can still go there.
Yeah.
I think that's basically what I was set out to do.
Mhm.
But what were your 3 main aims, Matthew, for this project?
I think getting it live on YouTube was one of them. So we did that. Probably meeting most of the deadlines. And you'll have to come back to me for the third one.
What are you, Finley?
Could you repeat the question, please?
What were your 3 main aims for
Three
this
main aims for
project?
my 3 main aims were to put out my own VT, which I did. Another one of my aims was to have the show more natural, which it was more natural in production one, but definitely wasn't as humour and as funny as I hoped for. And in production 3, my last number 3 would be time management, which we didn't, but I feel that it's quite rushed, but that will be improved as we have more time in the FMP.
My 3 main aims were obviously to make a VT, which I did, but it was another one was also to get my presenting skills up, which I did in the VTs that I was in, but then it was also to like make a show, and that's what we set out to do really. Has anyone else got anything else to add?
No, I feel like we covered what we want to see in production 3, what we've done well and what we could do better, and what we hope to improve on in our next show.
Yeah, we just need to remember that we're still learning, so we can't be too hard on ourselves.
No, but we can definitely improve stuff which
Yeah,
we are
can
capable
improve.
of.
Yeah,
We aren't limited.
but
We
like
can
just
definitely do
don't like make yourself feel bad that it didn't go the way you wanted it to go.
No. Main point is don't make yourself feel bad, but almost to have more determination now. To you've done this wrong. If you did this right, this would have made the show a lot better. Now we know what we could have done better. We're gonna strive to achieve those things to make the show as good as we can.
Yeah, because we all want to make the show as good as possible.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Don't think so.
And that's it.
Cool.